Hi, I'm Renee Smith.
And I'm Tammy Fellers, and we're math specialists at ESSDACK in Hutchinson, Kansas. And today we're here to talk about a deck of cards that we have created for you called Matching Quantities.
So we're going to look at about 3 or 4 different activities that you can do with this. Obviously, we have more than that represented on our task sheet that comes along with this set of cards, and we'll talk about what all is on that task sheet at the end of this. But we're going to play just what we would do with some primary age children first. By laying the cards out and they're all face up, it's not quite like concentration would be where you have to turn them over and figure out what the card is.
Although that's a variation of the game that you could eventually play with kids.
Absolutely. But now we can see what's on the cards, and so the whole object is for kids to find representations of the same quantity. And on the cards we have word names, shape, tens frame representations, and the numeral itself. And so kids would just merely take their turn and pick 2 that match, or even 4 that match, since there's 4 of each.
And it's also something that can be played by themselves, because I'm going to gather up all the 5s, and here are my 4 different representations, which are on the screen behind me, 4, 5. And so I'm just starting to recognize those words, those numerals. We gave 2 different pictorial representations on purpose. One, just random shapes that we have chosen, and then we also gave that tens frame representation because we know the power of the tens frame and where they're heading. So that's one way to start. That's kind of the first simplest activity we have with those, but for kindergartners, that's right where they need to be.
So as children develop and move on, another thing that you can do is this same activity where everything's laid out and they can see it, but now they're actually trying to make sums of 10. So now they need to find 2 cards that would create a sum of 10. So I might take 2 numerals, the 8 and the 2, but I also could have taken, instead of the numeral 2, I could have taken the quantity 2. So that would be another way that they could do this activity and up the difficulty a little bit for kids.
Absolutely.
So another thing that we think would be fun with this deck of cards is to play Go Fish. And so we're going to really quickly push all the cards together. And this is not all of the entire deck. Obviously these numerals run, we've represented everything from 0 to 10. But we would shuffle up the cards. And I probably haven't done a very good job here, but we would deal 4 cards to each player. And it would seem like there were more here if we had the whole deck, but then we would just spread all the fish out in the pond. And then Tammy gets the opportunity to ask me or any other player, if we were playing with multiple people, for a matching card. So she would ask me, Renee,
do you have a 9, Renee?
Do I have a 9? Oh, darn it, I actually do. So you get to put down that set of 9s that you have. And then I have to fill back up to 4 because the object is to use up all the cards, and so we keep filling back up to 4. Tammy would refill, and I'm going to ask you, Tammy, do you have, ooh, wait a minute, you know what? I actually have a set of 8s I could lay down, so do you have a 1?
Sorry, Go Fish.
And then I'm going to fill back up to 4 anyway. So you could play it that way, or you could do the same variation that we just demonstrated with sums of 10. So I'm sitting here with a 2 in my hand, so this time I would ask Tammy if she has an 8, so I could make a sum of 10. So
lots of variations to matching, to concentration, to Go Fish that you could use with these. And you could either be creating pairs, or you could be creating groups of 4, depending on what you wanted to do with that. And as Renee said, all of our cards are 0 to 10, and each of those numerals have 4 cards. The number, the word, a pictorial representation, which we have made into shapes, which are shapes that kindergartners are expected to be able to name, and the base 10, or the tens frame representation.
On the task card, you will find these extensions as well as a few others. And obviously, you guys are creative and you can come up with ones of your own, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
You also have some ideas for an accountability piece so that when you are busy at the teacher table, you'll know that children truly are engaged in what they're supposed to be doing. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.